I'm the man. Here I am. Yep. I'm the man. Here I am. Yep. I'm the man. DTP's about that bomb shit. When Premier puts the needle on the record.
It's your man Tico, aka Teak, aka Blinded by the Jump Man. You already know what it is. Here today, obviously, the man to my left needs no introduction.
I do kind of.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah. Okay. You've probably seen him on Skighwalker.blogspot.com. Definitely seen him at BurnRubberDetroit.com. And you actually, for some of y'all that's been on the forums on Nike Talk, celebrities wearing heat. You definitely will see him on there. Cliff Skighwalker, thanks, sir. How you doing today?
Doing well, man.
Chilling. Thank you for taking the time out of this, sir.
Nah, thank you for letting me be a part of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. So let's get right into this, y'all. So pretty much Cliff has graced us with his presence today, and go ahead and getting everything out to the people. So let's see what's popping. So really, man, what's like the definition of a sneakerhead, Cliff? What would you say, man, in your own words?
Well, it's right here. As soon as you step in the door and Burn Rubber, you got this. This was done by, well, like the picture was done by Shades, and then one of the owners, Rick Williams' wife, wrote this just to make sure. Yeah. Right? And it basically says, if y'all want to zoom in on it, sneakerhead, the quality or state of being addicted to sneakers, the compulsive need for sneakers, which are a habit-forming substance, characterized by well-defined physiological symptoms upon withdrawal. I mean, that says it. There's no more that needs to be discussed about that. No, unless you want to discuss.
No. That's actually the whole mantra right here when you walk through the door. So let me ask you this, man. How did you get turned on to the game? How did you get turned on to like the kicks game?
I know like a lot of people have, you know what I'm saying, stories, or they say something like, oh man, I've always been like, I was a baby, like, you know what I'm saying, like when you were a kid, right, your parents might have hooked, you might have been a baby with the Jordans. I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't get into shoes at all until probably 7th grade. Right. But the first time where I started, or that's the first time I bought shoes, okay, and then started buying more and more in 7th grade. Before that, I remember being in the Boys and Girls Club 97, because that's when the 12s dropped. Oh boy! And that was the first. Yeah.
That was 12s.
That was the first shoe that I actually saw, noticed, and could say those were Jordans. Right. Like I've seen, you know, them, but I couldn't like recognize it as a Jordan. Right. But that was the first one, because I remember when those dropped, basically in every colorway, everybody was rocking them. Like everybody was hooping in them.
White, black, white,
red, the Obsidian joints, I think. Yep.
Black, white.
Yeah. All of them.
Taxis and all of them. So let me ask you this: would you say that you're actually addicted to sneakers right now? Like, is this your thing, or is it kind of just something you're doing right now to kind of like pass the time, sort of thing?
Nah, I mean, I don't want to say addicted, because addicted has such, like, to some it has a negative connotation. Right. I would basically say that sneakers, and then I'm about to say something that has a negative connotation. Sneakers are basically a gateway drug into like fashion, you know what I'm saying, all that stuff, like all the stuff that you see like on the back wall, you know what I'm saying, when you edit it, it's like, sell the back wall, you know what I'm saying? But like from the clothes to the shirts to the denim to the hoodies to the outerwear to the Burn Rubber fitteds, you know what I'm saying? All of that stuff, basically, sneakers basically is the gateway drug to that.
So let me ask you this, man. Do you think the sneaker movement is as strong now as it was back then, or do you think that it's kind of lost, you know, some of its hype, or has died down over the years since, you know, your first love, first passion for it?
The way I see it, and I know when this goes out, there might be a lot of cats that'll be like, actually, he's not telling the truth, or whatever. Right. Whatever. This is my opinion. I feel like back then it wasn't a quote-unquote movement. Right. There were cats that were doing it because they either liked the athlete, they liked the design of the shoe, reasons like that. But it wasn't really considered a movement until it became known, basically, to like the forefront of society when you have stuff like Just for Kicks, that
Right.
DVD dropping. You have certain DVDs, or you have certain clips of videos on YouTube with Tinker, Bruce Kilgore, Mark Smith. When you had started having things like that, it became known to people who weren't necessarily quote unquote sneaker heads.
Right.
I feel that that's when it became known as a movement, because then you had the cats that have been doing it for a while, since, you know, Jordan's rookie year, or since they maybe worked the champs and was getting them.
Exactly.
And then you have like the new kids that weren't necessarily into it, but they see, you know, oh, so and so looks fly. He's into sneakers. He's into fashion. Maybe I want to be in it too. Which I'm not knocking.
Right.
But I'm just saying, now it's become a movement.
So with that, like, where do you kind of see, I guess, like the whole sneaker movement or sneaker culture, like, going? Like, where do you see this, like, the progression of this, you know, this culture, this underground culture?
Well, like, recently, like, if you go on the message boards, like Nike Talk, ISS, you'll start to see, like, a separation from cats that were doing it, like, let's say, mid-90s, or let's say, when Jordan was still playing.
Right.
And then you have the kids that were doing it after when Jordan retired, the second time.
The second time.
So,
Do you, man?
it's like, I think that separation is going to continue to become more relevant. But at the end of the day, if you're true to it, if you basically keep it real with yourself and like your information,
Right.
I mean, I think it's going to get bigger, in my opinion.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So obviously with the sneaker culture, with the love, up until, what was it, correct me if I'm wrong, last summer, I think it was, you actually started up your own blog. So Cliff Skighwalker.
Yeah, it was in March. It was actually March of 2008.
So what made you, or what inspired you to actually start up this blog, man, which right now I'm hearing is getting crazy views, like daily, like traffic is bananas over the course of this year. What made you want to start this blog up?
First,
Cliff Notes.
Sidebar to everybody that reads the blog, thank y'all. Like, I appreciate that more than anything. What started it actually two things started it. First off, Tone and Gumbo of Finally Famous called me just like randomly, like out of the blue, and were like, Cliff, I got an idea. You should start a blog.